Today, I will be saying the story of Tom Thumb. So, once upon a time, there was a big treasure, and there were two men who were bargaining for the treasure. There was a big giant, and there was a small wizard, but a clever one. The giant was so tall and so large that he scared the wizard away from the treasure, and he decided to take all the wealth of the treasure. But the wizard was very angry at him for doing so. So, from a safe distance, he hid behind a bush and he had chanted a spell. He had said abracadabra and then he continued the spell. After the ending of the spell, when the when the giant had a child, the child was very small, and that in fact was the spell of the wizard. His spell was actually that the the child of the giant should be as small as a stump, and the spell worked, and that's why the giant got a very little child, and he named him Tom. As he was small as a thumb, everybody used to call him Tom Thumb. From that day, he has been called as Tom Thumb. Um, the, there are many problems with Tom Thumb as he was so small in size, especially for parents who are giants. They are not even able to hear or even see Tom as he was so small. He was always sad because of his size. One day, when he was playing with the animals in the garden, like bugs and snails, he was actually eaten by a fish. He was not actually digested, he was just in the stomach of the fish. And then the fish went inside the sea and it was swimming and it was baited. A fisherman caught the fish and he gave it to the royal palace of the kingdom. And then the chef received the fish and he continued to do his job, which is to cut the fish. He had cut the fish and cooked it, and Tom just came out of the fish and said everything what had happened. Then the chef got an awesome idea. He decided to make Tom the page boy so that the king could impress him. He also kept Tom on his cake so that everybody, including king, would be impressed with its with the chef's construction of cake. So he did so, and he put Tom on the cake and gave it to the king. The king was very astonished, and he had appreciated the chef with a bag of gold. And then the chef was never happy, and then the chef was so happy that he had never been this much happy before in his life. And then as the chef planned, he became the page boy. He was given a ride and he was given a weapon. His weapon was a sharp but tiny sword, and his ride was a white mouse. And all the time, the king had paid so much attention to Tom that the king actually forgot his actual pet, a cat. And the cat was so jealous of Tom that it actually tried to ambush Tom. It tried so many times. It tried so many times using its physical body, but it did not work out as Tom always had a weapon and a right to escape. And one day, the cat tried to win by using its cleverness. So it went to the king, and it said to the king a dreadful lie. It said that Tom is planning to kill you, your grace. He is actually trying to poison you in your food. So be careful. The king knew that, and he called Tom and imprisoned him for that reason. Tom did not know what to do, and he was very sad. He did not even know what happened, and he was speechless for the deeds of the cat. So the men in the royal court actually locked him up, in a pendulum clock, as he was too small to lock him up anywhere else. He was locked up there for days, and no one came to his rescue. At last, on one night, a flying moth came near Tom and it knew and it asked Tom and Tom said everything what has happened, which led him to this position. The moth felt very sorry for Tom and it let him escape. It actually helped him escape from the pendulum. And then the moth took Tom to the butterfly kingdom, where everyone is just as small as Tom so that he could be taken care very carefully. Tom was very grateful for the deeds of the moth and the butterfly kingdom. So, in their memory, he actually built a butterfly monument in the butterfly kingdom, which can be seen until this day. Thank you.